concept to you. See, basically, this is the second meeting which we are doing under this Vani and ICMI collaboration. One, we did a roundtable in Delhi, where we invited some, the big NGOs of Delhi. At least physically, we can do only that only. And there are a lot of discussion on that social stock exchange issue. As we all know that in 2020, the finance minister announced that India will have that social stock exchange, and there was a very less awareness among civil society organizations that how this whole thing is being framed, how we are carving out social stock exchange, who is doing what, how we can participate. So this whole process, since being a national platform, one of the major role of WANI is to strengthen the civil society organization of India. So we thought that's a great opportunity where there is a, you can say, a helping hand which is extended by the government and its structures to support and strengthen civil society of this country. And we should use it. We must be part of the story. Otherwise, we will be only on the, you can say, sidelines of the whole concept. So in under this conversation, we had a discussion with Josna ma'am, Gupta ji, and we all thought that let's have this process with Vani. We are doing one. This one is the second meeting in which there is a feedback which is required on the document. We'll need and discuss on that. And I would also like to, because it's the first meeting in which many of our members from different states are participating. So I thought I must tell you that in this whole process, we are going to have 2-3 regional meetings also. The physical meeting we are trying, if we can. There we will have face-to-face discussions with various civil society organizations and other stakeholders in those locations. Because there are two parts of that. One is the participation of civil society as a beneficiary of social stock exchange. And secondly, also we need a cadre of people who can do social audit of organizations. Maybe Gupta ji and Josna ma'am can tell detail about that. So in this process, I welcome you all for this conversation today, because you must have seen that almost all CSOs in India today are trying to create a domestic resource base for their operations. So either it is through the government support, or it is through the individual giving or institutional giving, philanthropic organizations. Social stock exchange is one of the major components. We can say that it's a step ahead within CSR framework. So we invite you, we welcome you, and we request you, all of you, to be part of the story. Interestingly, uh, language is not the barrier. Our Gupta ji and Josna ma'am, particularly Josna ma'am, speaks very क्लिष्ट हिंदी, जो हमको भी नहीं आती, मैडम बोलती हैं। इन्होंने अपने, लगता है मेरे को, उत्तरांचल में सीखा है। सो भाषा का भेद नहीं है। लवकुश जी, आपके जो दिमाग में प्रश्न आए आप पूछिएगा, और कोशिश करेंगे कि ये डॉक्यूमेंट, इसका पहले प्रेजेंटेशन होगा, फिर आपके विचार जाने जाएंगे। और हम चाहेंगे कि फिजिकल मीटिंग तो हो ही हो, कुछ और भी रीजनल मीटिंग्स ऑनलाइन करनी पड़ेगी। तो वानी एंड आईसीएमआई विल डू दैट। देयर इज नो लिमिटेशंस ऑफ रिस्ट्रिक्शंस ऑन एनीथिंग। So welcome you, and Gupta ji, it's all for you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So good morning and welcome everyone. This is a joint interactive session being organized by Vani India in association with ICMI Social Auditors Organization. And the context and reference and agenda for today's discussion is Perspectives on Social Stock Exchange, which was announced by SEBI by way of amendments to ICDR LODR in July 2022. And since then, portals have been opened, operationalized on NSE and BSE, and a total of 31 non-profit organizations have already been registered on the two portals taken together in aggregate. And there is also a new concept of social impact assessment to be carried out after 1 year of operation, which has to be conducted by a new cadre of professionals known as social auditors. On becoming a social auditor, there is the eligibility criteria prescribed by SEBI, and further they have to pass the exam conducted by NISM, and then they have to enroll with one of the three regulatory organizations. As of now, over 950 individuals.
गुप्ता जी, बीच में आवाज किसकी आ रही है?
ये
I
म्यूट
think mute.
कराइए जरा।
Not from my end.
हाँ हाँ, ये म्यूट
ना
करवा
ना
दो जरा।
वहां से आ रही है, कोई होगा ना जो पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं। और
हाँ
ये
हाँ
भी मैं थोड़ा सा आप सबको
हाँ, लवकुश जी जरा म्यूट कर दीजिए अपना हिसाब। लवकुश जी माइक म्यूट कर दीजिए। हाँ ठीक।
हाँ, मैं ये भी रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूंगी सभी पार्टिसिपेंट को, आपका कोई भी यदि आप बात नहीं कर पाएंगे, कृपया आप चैट बॉक्स में डालिए।
Yeah, that's right.
ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। और कोई भी रिएक्शन हो, आप रिएक्शन करके दिखा दीजिएगा, तभी हमें पता
That's right.
लगेगा कि क्या है ना, ये मीटिंग का क्या असर हो रहा है। नहीं तो पता नहीं चलता है फिर।
Right. So there's a lot of interest in the marketplace. A lot of people are attempting to appear for the exam, clear the exam, and looking at a new professional avenue as a social auditor. And so far, over 950 individuals have cleared the certification program or the exam conducted by NISM. It is well understood that it's a new concept, and therefore this is required to be supported both by architectural framework of regulations as well as some kind of a funding. And therefore there is a provision of building up a capacity building fund which is housed with NABARD, with contribution and participation from SIDBI, NSC, BSc, to enable NPOs and other stakeholders to navigate the social stock exchange and its processes, and for creating awareness. SEBI, stock exchanges, NABARD, SIDBI, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Company Secretaries of India, Cost Accountants of India, we have all joined together and have conducted and organized various awareness programs over the last 6 months to create awareness and help NPOs to understand the various elements and perspectives of social stock exchange. SEBI on its part has also constituted a social stock exchange advisory committee, which is chaired by Dr. R. Balasubramaniam, member Capacity Building Commission, Government of India. And the key agenda for the committee, or the key terms and conditions of the committee, are to advise SEBI on issues relating to development and growth of the SEC segment over there. In order to facilitate development of this particular new concept of SSC, social audit, social auditors, a meeting of NPOs, investors, NSC, BSc, NABARD, and SEBI officials was held on 26th of July in Mumbai, and in which certain issues were raised, such as there is a new instrument which we are talking about, that an NGO or an NPO which is registered on the NSC or BSc portal may raise funds by way of an instrument which is called zero coupon, zero principal. And it was prescribed earlier in the guidelines of SEBI that the minimum issue size for NPOs has to be 1 crore. But in the deliberations that we had in Mumbai on 26 July, it was felt that this threshold probably, at least to begin with, is on a very high side. It needs to be brought down. Probably we can have a relook at that after a few months, few years, and again probably increase it. But as of now, it appears to be on the higher side. Similarly, the threshold for minimum application size of zero coupon, zero principal was kept as 2 lakhs by SEBI, which also is felt to be slightly on the higher side. Another issue which came up for discussion was what happens to those NGOs and NPOs which do not have ATG certification, but which are having certification under Section 1023 and 1046 of the Income Tax Act. Earlier, and the existing guidelines of social stock exchange as per SEBI, they're not entitled for registration on NSE and BSC, but a discussion was held and it was felt that those organizations also need to be probably allowed to get registered on NSE and BSC. Then what happens if a particular NPO has received some kind of a notice or a scrutiny which is happening from the income tax department? As per the existing guidelines of SEBI, there is a bar that some NGO or some NPO which has received a notice from income tax or a scrutiny is currently pending, they are not eligible for registration on the NSE BSE portal. This also is proposed to be diluted by putting some kind of riders and making it easier for NPOs and NGOs to be able to register in spite of certain pending notices and ongoing scrutiny from the Income Tax Department. The stakeholders also raised the issue that using the term social auditor may not be in the right spirit or the best spirit of the social sector. Probably it is better to replace this term with the word social impact assessor. Because when you use the word auditor, people are slightly taken back. Well, there's somebody who has come to police me around, and they are not all that forthcoming to share their information, share their data, and therefore it is proposed that the term social auditor be changed with social impact assessor. And further, while registering on the NSC and BSc portal as of now, NPOs are required to provide information about the social impact of their past social programs. This requirement is going to stay, but the point that's coming up for discussion is this need not be provided to SEBI in the required format or the fundraising format. They can do so in any format that they may be using as of now, but nonetheless, they got to provide information about the past social impact of the various programs that they would have run, that they would have implemented over the period of time. So, post 26 July meeting, which happened in Mumbai, which I also attended. Madam Jyotsna is a member of the Social Stock Exchange Advisory Committee. She also attended. Pursuant to that meeting and deliberation, SEBI has come out with certain recommendations and a consultative paper which is open for public discussion, in which all these 7.6 points have been raised to be deliberated by various stakeholders, and recommendations have to be submitted back to SEBI so that finally SEBI can take a call as to how to go about dealing with the 6-7 different critical aspects concerning the framework of social stock exchange. So that is the perspective that we have today. I would now request Madam Jyotsna Chitling, retired IFS and member of Social Stock Exchange Advisory Committee, to share her perspectives. And because she is one of the key members of the Social Stock Exchange Advisory Committee, she is actually privy to a lot of other information which we people are not aware of. I would request her to kindly share her thoughts and perspectives so as to take the discussion forward. Thank you so much. Over to Madam Jyotsna.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Gupta, and hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes.
All right. So, can you remove this
Sure,
whatever
I'll do that.
presentation you
I'll
had
do
made?
that. I'll do that.
So, yes. So, good morning, all the members of NPO fraternity. सभी को नमस्कार मेरी ओर से और you know, are you all comfortable with English, Hindi, both? It's fine?
Yes, please. That's a
Yeah, that's fine.
Fine, fine. So now, you know, whatever you must be seeing these 7 points, huh? And this document had been circulated, and
yes, please.
Dr. S.K. Gupta very, you know, very lucidly elaborated what these 7 points are for. And Harshji had already circulated that 10-page document. So I presume that whosoever have come to attend this workshop, they know the background and they know the, you know, the type of discussion that is going on around these 7 points. All right. So with that pretext in the mind, I'm just going to, you know, very whatever matter of factly, you know, what is this advisory committee for, and at the same time what is the difference advisory committee is making in SEBI right now. Okay, so I'm happy to let you know that you know, government and SEBI, you know, the type of the members they have put in the advisory committee, they are the you know, they are the NPOs to the core basically. Our chairperson Dr. Bala Subramaniam, he himself is from Gram Foundation. He has worked a lot with the tribal community, as you all must be knowing. Yeah, I need not mention. So Puspa's there and other members like Amit Chandra and many other members who are from mostly from the NPO background are there. Some people are there from the investment background. This is just to give you small background. So given that now whatever these points are coming, over the last two meetings, we have been persistently telling SEBI that these all need to change. If you would like to, include our NPO partners. So given that that culminated into one brainstorming session before the third afternoon, 26th afternoon was our third SSEAC, मतलब Sector Skill Council, sorry, Social Stock Exchange uh, advisory committee meeting, third advisory committee meeting, and in the morning, whole, I think we spent some 2 hours to discuss these issues, brainstorm on these issues, and and based on that brainstorming session where all these points were put, now this is here for the uh, uh, feedback basically. Now, given that Harshji told very beautifully that we are creating, if we get included, I really the way foreign fundings are getting diminished, and the way the socio political economies evolving in India. So we need to be standing on our own feet. So whatever instruments are getting, like social stock exchange instruments are getting evolved, I urge the civil society organization fraternity, if you could participate. See, all these points, whatever has been mentioned somewhere, somewhere in the meetings, CASOs were very vocal, in the past meetings. So, if you can let us know, that's why I'm telling that, you put whatever you cannot tell in the chat box. Sometimes, we need to use full of airtime. But that, whatever you will write, if if these points click to us, and it's a if they are really a matter of concern, then we'll take that to SEBI. So that's how I am particularly participating in this session. And for us, what we feel that to just a minute, huh? I just have water. To evolve the right ecosystem, genuine feedback from the the main client, the civil society organization, it is very, very important. Because until and unless we sense the pulse of the NPO fraternity, nothing is going to evolve. All right. So this is for sure. So this is important. So nevertheless, by telling that, it is also very important. One party is to be a part of it, not only as a as an entity who is serving the people, not only the pool, the the pool which will be sending candidates for social auditor, but constantly dialoguing and suggest to SEBI, suggest to SSCAC, that how what where the shoe is getting pinched, whatever we are developing, then only we'll be able to understand and know the how we need to facilitate the whole value chain of this impact, investment, impact funding market basically. Yeah. So market, it doesn't mean that it's a total economize market, I am talking about the social market, which which builds and rebuilds and proliferates social capital for nation building. Yeah, so we are all here for that only. So this is one point I just want to tell. And also I would like to request, last time Harshji and other 17 very acclaimed NPOs of North India and mainly from Delhi were there. I think we had conducted that in first week of August. So there I had given the social auditor. See, social audit is that part where we are also trying a lot to ease out this audit part, make social audit not theoretical, but social audit very practical, so that there is no impact washing. There is genuine work done while doing social evaluation. So I urge, till now the 900, about 900 candidates which who have taken the social audit training, they are mostly from finance background. And my worry is that until and unless social sector people take that certificate and mainstream themselves to be a social auditor, this situation will not improve. So I request all the NPO fraternity kindly to field kindly to take this examination. It might be a little uh, uh, yes, some of the points could be difficult, but one need to with little bit of learning, I think one can make it. It's not a very difficult learning basically. So one part is there, another part is equally from the whatever now say whatever now the three self-regulated organization under SEBI, that is ICI, ICMAI, who are onto management and cost, and ICSI, who are onto company secretary part. So auditor, company secretary, and cost and management part, three verticals. Okay. So the SROs also need to understand, and we have pertinently put that point to SEBI that until unless field trainings are done, and uh, all the finance sector people who have taken this certification through self learning, until and unless they go to the field and do at least one social audit and produce that report, we are telling that they are not fully social auditors. But for doing that, maybe we can give a time frame of 3 months to produce a social audit report. But until and unless the NPO becomes the part of system, non-profit organization, civil society organization, and they entertain the candidates whosoever have passed from passed this certification exam to go to their field and get some social audit exercise done, and be a part of be a part of evaluating what they have done, and give marks to these social auditors, then they will not be able to receive a proper training. तो बोलने का मतलब है कि जो इकोसिस्टम, वॉट एवर इकोसिस्टम इज डेवलपिंग, the NPO fraternity have got a major role to play. So I urge, apart from discussing this paper, Harshji, I'll be with you. If we can just get one discussion done on how NPOs can send their candidates for social audit thing, and at the for social auditorship. Because what I really feel is that in the succession planning also, the it will provide a very good aspirational value to the professionals who are from development background, if they can take the role of social auditors, and they'll be moving up and up basically. Yeah. So to in order to make social sector aspirational also, the type of skilling that is coming the type of job avenues that are coming in the social sector in relation to the funding market at different levels. If our people from social sector can get trained in that, in those type of competencies also, it will be very good to mobilize the whole ecosystem for to get the system mobilized to what I can say is to get a better value for every stakeholder, especially our NPOs from social stock exchange or any other such initiatives. Now, where the the accountability and at the same time the reliability factor counts, uh, and at the same time where NPOs have now readily got the platform to prove themselves. And to prove themselves means it's not that you need to prove everywhere, but at the same time there is one platform available. So without doing anything, just by proper reporting, proper audit, or proper following some of the practices, one can have the credibility established, and anyone can come and see and be ready to get funded. Yeah. So this is what I would the avenues are much more, but we all should work together, and it's a huge opportunity for everyone to get onboarded. And last part I just would like to tell is that so far I think 30 NPOs have registered themselves in social stock exchange. So with those 30 NPOs, we are already in the process of listing, in the trying to bring them together. First cohort workshop to be under NABARD's leadership. It's expected to be organized on 11th of September, where they will be given hands-on training to list, how to make the project to get themselves listed in the social stock exchange. But now the very less number of NPOs are coming. And that's why we are all these 7 recommendations bring home the point that we need to ease out the way, as you say, in the ease of doing business, yeah, for the NPOs. So these all 7 recommendations are for that. So I would urge the other NPOs who are here in this forum to kindly come forward to get themselves registered in social stock exchange. Only then we'll be able to take you forward to include in some trainings, to include you in some hand-holding exercise to make the projects for listing, to link you with the donors for listing. So we are also trying on, trying on label based, where the donors can come from, requesting everyone, can you donate, can you donate? But until and unless the NPOs are ready with their projects, uh, it will be very difficult. Yeah. At least now I cannot tell about the projects right now, but at least registering in the social stock exchange would be very, very important to be onboarded to proceed on further with the initiative on social stock exchange. With this, I would like to stop here. Thank you very much, Harshji and Dr. Gupta, for giving me this opportunity
Thank
to
you,
speak
madam.
with
Yes.
the
Thank
NPO
you.
fraternity.
Thank you,
So
madam.
before I take you through
yeah.
the recommendations of SEBI, there is one comment in the chat box which I would request Madam Jyotsna to kindly respond. People are asking about ATG for zero coupon, zero bond. So what is the status? Are we looking at that?
Yeah, yeah. So we are trying on level based with the government. Yeah. Every time now our chairperson is meeting with CBDT to get this done. So hopefully we can hope the way it's moving in a positive direction, and we hope to see that this at least ATG we should be getting. So
Okay.
this is one part, but it's not until unless we get it, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
That's right. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. So now we will take up the various recommendations of SEBI one by one. And I would request the members present here and the audience and the participants to kindly provide their views so that we can collate, consolidate all their views, and then submit a paper to SEBI with regard to views and ideas of this particular group with regard to various recommendations of SEBI. The first recommendation is, as per existing regulations, the minimum issue size is rupees 1 crore. Based on the feedback received in the brainstorming session, committee has recommended that the minimum issue size may be reduced to rupees 50 lakhs. And the whole rationale for reducing this 50 lakhs is the investors are, as of now, not really aware about the SSC framework, which will develop over a period of time through more and more awareness programs. It may therefore not be easy for such NPOs to find investors to raise rupees 1 crore. Therefore, it is noted that minimum fund flow requirement, even for the past financial year of NPO, is 50 lakhs for annual spending and 10 lakhs for the funding. And given this backdrop and the initial stages of the evolution of SSC, it is proposed and suggested that the issue size be reduced from 2 crores to 50 lakhs. I invite views and suggestions from the audience and the members present here, please. So should the issue size for zero coupon, zero principal be kept at 2 crores as of now in the SEBI guidelines, or should it be reduced to 50 lakhs or some other number? We're looking for your views and suggestions on this particular aspect.
इसमें मैं कुछ साथियों को बताना चाहूंगा। देखिए
जी
क्या
सर।
होता है, कई बार जो पैकेट साइज अगर बड़ा होगा तो उसमें जो छोटी संस्थाएं हैं जिनका बजट कम है, दे विल बी आउट ऑफ द रेस। आई थिंक टू मेक इट मोर इंक्लूसिव, जो ये रिकमेंडेशन है 50 लाख, आई थिंक दैट इज सफिशिएंट, क्योंकि नहीं तो काफी संस्थाएं छूट जाएंगी।
जी।
तो
ठीक है।
अशोक जी ने भी बोला, और कोई साथी
मेरा
कहना
पॉइंट ये
चाहेंगे?
है, मेरा पॉइंट ये है हर्षी, कि जैसे कि अपना मिनिमम साइज 10 lakh spending they are asking for the registration, fundraising, and 50 lakh spending in the last year. So obviously one project, एक साल में एक प्रोजेक्ट 5-6 लाख 10 लाख रुपए का may be there, because registration requirement is that NGO should spend 50 lakh in the previous year. So it means that NGO should carry out at least 3-4 projects maybe, or if they are carrying only one project on the year, then 50 lakh size is sufficient. So depends on the NGO, small NGO, that what is the average size of a project. With this limit can be further reduced. Idea is if 10,000 they are proposing for size of the limit. I have also my view on that, not to keep any minimum, because as per current situation, they are not keeping it anything on the obligation by number of the donors. So any number of donors can be there. And record keeping also, once the KYC of the donor is freezed, so we can put a limitation on the donor KYC that they should have the demat account or something. Then anyone who is donating 5,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees, that is a corpus coming to the NGO. And size can be as low as 5 lakh or 10 lakh per project. Matlab average size which an small NGO is taking out. If small NGO is carrying only one project that is of 25 lakhs or 50 lakhs normally, then it can be of 25-50 lakhs. But obviously here input is required more from the NGO side, that how much funds they are required or how much project size they are handling on an average, especially small NGOs.
हमारे ना काफी स्टेट लेवल के संस्थाएं भी हैं, those who operate at various states. तो मैं जैसे सिंह साहब हुए, शिव कुमार, I would request them if they can give their opinion on this issue.
Yes, please.
Shall I intervene, Harish? So
Yes, sir.
it is good that it should be reduced. Maybe possibly, if you are still reducing, as it is said, small and marginalized NGOs may also be joined. Because even initially, the crore now it is fixed now. It's only for bigger NGOs. The funds, as she has rightly pointed out, is dwindling and then it has been going down. Foreign funding is downing, CSR is funding. Marginalized and small people need some money. So it is better. Dr. Gupta and others have to be congratulated for first reduction. If it is possible, it is better we reduce still further so that the marginalized and small are also benefited on both occasions. It's a good idea that one step has been taken. Let us also try to take another step and reduce it further. That's what most of us we have given the reaction in our own feeling to SEBI. I have sent it to SEBI saying you filled the form and requested them to reduce it still further if it is possible.
Okay, fine. Meenakshi, madam. Yes, please.
Yes, so I had a question, a clarification. I read in the document that I mean, if an NGO puts up a project, the donors, of various people who want to invest money are allowed to pool the money. Is that correct understanding? So my question on the other side is that, we're talking about smaller NGOs with smaller capabilities, and there have been in the past many examples, successful examples of funds being created and multiple NGOs getting funding from that, smaller amounts. So is that also something that can be possibly considered? Or that would be my suggestion that it's considered.
Okay. So your first thought that investors' amount that they are willing to donate or put under zero coupon, zero principal will be pooled. That's correct. Your understanding is right.
Yeah.
And looking at the limit that we have, Mr. Vijay Kumar also, Ravi Kumar also suggested reducing it further. But I think one more angle that we got to look at, there are also certain issue expenses and overhead expenses which are required to be kept at a certain level as a ratio of total funds raised by NGO and the amount of expenses that they are required to spend on the issue as well as the administrative part. So keeping that balance in mind, we'll recommend to SEBI to look at further reducing this from 50 lakhs downwards. But let's see how SEBI considers it and looks at this whole point going forward. Any further inputs on Mr. Naina? Madam Naina, please.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So even I want to say the same thing, that the spending and donation minimum amount which is given by 50 and 10 should be reduced, because I'm in touch with few NPOs who are very smaller ones, but they have a wish to do something. Okay, they have good projects in their hand, but they are they lack only in the funds capacity. So the spending capacity also should be reduced from 10 lakh to 5 lakh something, and 50 lakhs also should be reduced. That will be easier for us to get the maximum number of NPOs on the SSC platform.
Okay.
So that's a request, sir.
Noted.
Okay,
Noted.
thank you. Yeah.
Noted.
Thank you. Thank you.
So moving on to the next point, besides the issue size, there is a minimum application size prescribed in the guidelines as of now, which is kept at rupees 2 lakhs. And the recommendation is that based on the feedback received in the brainstorming session, committee is recommending that minimum application size be reduced to rupees 10,000. This will enable large number of investors to subscribe to zero coupon, zero principal instruments. Further, the minimum application size of 2 lakh may be too large for people who donate on a regular basis. So, soliciting views from the audience on reducing the minimum application size from 2 lakhs to 10,000.
Shivakumar, shall I intervene?
Yes, please. Yes,
Shivakumar, it's a wonderful suggestion. It's a good suggestion. It is a needy suggestion. We recommend it. We strongly agree with you.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It should be followed.
Thank
it's very
you.
important. Yes.
10,000 ticket size is good enough?
Yes, yeah. Good enough. Good enough. Yes.
Okay. Any further views, please?
Very practical suggestion, sir.
Okay, thank you. The next point is with regard to allowing those NGOs to register which do not have 80G registration, but they have registration under 12, 12AA, 12AB of income tax. The recommendation is they should be allowed to register on the social stock exchange. I mean, NSE as well as BSE. The idea is not to mandate registration under 80G for seeking registration with SSC. They may not have, not mandated.
Welcome,
Yes,
session.
Jaswinder ji. Yes.
जी सर, मैं इसमें एक चीज़ ऐड करना चाहूँगा कि 80G मेरा कंसर्न कह लीजिए, सवाल कह लीजिए, 80G अगर नहीं होता है उसमें, तो दैट इजंट दैट इन लाइक कॉन्फ्लिक्ट विद द एग्जिस्टिंग सिस्टम्स इन प्लेस? कि सबसे पहले तो आपको एट द एंड ऑफ द ईयर रिपोर्ट करना होता है कि किस किस ने डोनेशन दिया है, इंडिविजुअल ने, उसका विद पैन डिटेल्स। तो तब आप जाके 10B फाइल कर सकते हैं। तो आई थिंक this will be in contravention to that existing system that's in place.
Okay.
So it will become extremely confusing कि 80G अगर नहीं है, पहली बात तो अगर एसएससी के सिस्टम में इसको इंक्लूड करना चाहिए कि 80G रिसीट्स का कैसे रहेगा। दूसरा, अगर 80G आपके पास नहीं है तो फिर 12A के अंदर आप उसको 10B में कैसे अकाउंट करेंगे?
ओके, तायल जी आप कुछ बताएंगे?
जी सर, तो
जी।
दो पॉइंट ये सर कि 80G की इट्स अ गुड सजेशन दैट 80G can be dispensed with so that people can be who are not registered with 80G, they can also come forward. Anyway, Modi government is going, or the government of India is going to dispense with all these 80G or in the new tax regime, the
Ji.
exemptions. So country
Ji.
is moving in that direction. And what we can represent to the SEBI also in discussion with Ministry of Finance to map this 80G and 1023C together, that whosoever registered under the act, they will be automatically eligible for the 80G.
Right.
So 80G registration is not required if they are registered on the SSC platform. Whatsoever donation or whatsoever zero coupon, they are also eligible for the 80G. And they can give the demat account number or some unique number.
Right.
So alternate amendment can be made in the respective 10BE form. So if they can give their demat account number and the share certificate number, then 80G will be given to them. That is my suggestion to the.
Okay. Yes, please, Madam Rita.
Yes, sir. I had the speaker prior to this gentleman brought up a part of the point that I was trying to make. But if 80G benefit is not going to be extended to the social investor, why is it that there's an 80G requirement for the not-for-profit? I mean, are we kind of trying to illustrate the balance of power here and how the not-for-profits need to show a level of disclosure which is far more, whereas a benefit of that 80G is not currently being considered to be given to the social investor at all? This is not from an accountant's perspective. This is just from a lay person looking at the two sides of the equation.
Absolutely. So as Jyotsna Madam mentioned that there is a discussion happening over there, and SEBI is taking up the matter with CBDT for 80G eligibility for zero coupon, zero principal. But as of now, the discussions are on, and we can't really say whether it's going to be accepted, not accepted. We've got to keep our fingers crossed as of now. But discussion definitely is happening. But you have a valid point that in case investors are not getting 80G benefit, why insist 80G certification for the NGOs registering on SSC as well? So there seems to be a contradiction over there. Your point is well taken. Any other views, please, on this point? So moving on to the next aspect of recommendation, as per the current guidelines, in case the NPO has received some kind of a notice from Income Tax Department or a scrutiny is currently pending or ongoing, they are not eligible for registration on NSE and BSE. Whereas the committee is now recommending NPO having notice or ongoing scrutiny by Income Tax Department may be permitted to register on social stock exchange subject to the following. One, Details regarding pending notices or scrutiny cases may be disclosed at the time of making the application for registration. You please disclose what are the notices that we have received and what is the scrutiny that we have received from the Income Tax Department. Next, fines or penalties, if imposed, shall be disclosed as paid or appealed within a period of 7 days. However, still there is a rider which is proposed to be put here. SSC will have the right to refuse registration of those applications if the notices are grave in nature and harmful enough to endanger the registration of NPO under relevant provisions of Income Tax Act. Because generally it was felt that once an NPO receives a notice, it may not ultimately culminate into a penalty or some kind of a negative impact on the NGO. These are some kind of routine notices which are issued by Income Tax Department, which if properly replied, I mean, the matter gets sorted out and the matter gets closed. So in order to relax the requirement of registration for the NPOs, it is proposed to have these kind of recommendations as proposed by SEBI. Members may kindly share their views on this particular aspect.
Then they agreed, I think. This agreed because
Okay.
in many
This is
cases,
agreed.
depends on the size of the organization. अगर बड़ा है ना,
जी,
they get notice regularly.
I know. वो तो
Every
आते रहते
year they
हैं।
get.
हाँ,
तो ये तो
okay.
बिल्कुल लगता है कि ठीक है, इसको रखना चाहिए.
Yes, sir. My suggestion is here that it is a welcome move. It should be there, but we should fix some limit either because it is giving a subjective thing in the hands of SSC. So if there is any, and then ambiguity will be there and objections can be there whether registration will be there or not. Either it can be quantified that above a demand is going on, then SEBI can consider or not. Something should be in black and white. Otherwise, it is given option to the SSC officers, and everyone has to go to Mumbai and then justify whether it is any serious or not.
So there should be some kind of a threshold prescribed for.
This threshold definition should be clear that either in some certain section of income tax should not going on, which are of criminal nature or something like that.
Right, right.
So that should be cleared out in this section.
Okay. Any other viewpoint, please? Okay, then the next point is substituting the term social auditor with social impact assessor. Generally, it is felt, and it was also a feedback given in the brainstorming session held on 26 July in Mumbai in SEBI office. NPOs felt that the word auditor puts them back because he's considered to be somebody who's going to police around, ask for certain uncomfortable information, data from them, which they are not really forthcoming or willing to provide. And therefore, the suggestion is to change the word from social auditor to social impact. May I have the views of the audience?
May I?
Yes, please. Welcome, please.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have a strong point here that though audit is not a, I'm a chartered accountant also, and that's
Yes,
why
please.
I want to put my suggestion.
Right, right.
Audit is not a negative connotation. Maybe for the NPOs or the person who is getting it conducted, but in the public mind, it will give a positive impact when you mention that report has been issued for the impact assessment, rather than if you say that impact assessor has assessed the report. So that is somewhere the lighter note in the mind of public who are going to fund the NGOs.
Okay.
So it can be done by the CA, CMA or the other NGO people also as per the eligibility. I agree that practical experience must be mandatory for a
Yes.
social auditor, but
Right.
word audit will give a positive note in the mind of investor.
Okay, okay. Point
That is
well
my
made. Sure. Rita, madam.
Yes, thank you, sir. I am a development sector professional. I am not a CA. I actually wanted to understand what this social audit was all about, and I went through the process of taking the exam. I then realized, with due respect to all accountants who are on this call, if the intent of social audit is to assess impact, and there's a difference between audit and impact. And I'm a finance professional as well, so I understand very well what the difference between audit and impact is. If
Yes.
in essence, one is trying to assess impact, and even the SROs largely are essentially CA, CMA, and company
Yes.
statutory bodies.
Yes.
So what is the message that is going to the social sector here? That just like I have a financial audit at the end of the year, we have the same fraternity coming and trying to assess impact. Do they firstly understand what social impact is? I spent 9 years trying to work in this sector to be able to even grapple with the sense of how to measure impact. And clearly there are, I won't go into the theory of change and so on and so
Yes,
forth,
please.
but
Yes.
impact is very different from audit. Now, with due respect to my previous speakers, yes, if you mention the word audit, it has a different connotation. It may have a level of seriousness, but it has a very different connotation, which is probably in terms of the depth and the intensity that the word impact carries. Audit does not carry that in the context of what the development sector is trying to achieve. There are a lot of qualitative aspects there which cannot be captured by just checking ye number report kiya ki nahi kiya, which is why I think the understanding of the sector and what it takes, what NGOs measure from be it the output or going up to the point of impact, and there are several stages between that. I think somebody who understands the sector understands this better. So I mean, whether social impact assessor is the best term, I am not 100% sure I can answer that question. But the term social audit does not capture what a social auditor needs to do today. That is the only point I wanted to express.
Sure.
Thank you, Ritaji.
Yes.
Thank you, Ritaji. Yeah, please. So I want to just clarify that the qualification of social auditor can be amended. I strongly recommend that. I agree with Jyotsna ji as well as Rita ji that a CA or CS as per se do not understand the social sector or the impact, neither in the practical world, also by just reading the book of NISM, it cannot be done. So there must be a practical experience, and the persons who are doing in the development sector are equipped with the tools. So definition of social auditor or qualification for the social auditor can be more stringent and towards the development professionals who are working in the development sector especially. So it should not be experience for the chartered accountant, CA or CS or CMA, or even financial professionals should be required to work in the development sector. Jyothi has rightly mentioned, there should be a practical thing should be there. My only suggestion is that from the point of view of investors who are going to fund, for them, audit will be given more positive impact for any report you are going to issue. So SEBI is asking for the social impact, annual impact assessment report. And if annual impact assessment report is audited by some professional who is qualified, and by qualification, I don't say it should be a financial professional, that can be reviewed definitely. That should be reviewed in my opinion, though I have qualified the exam. But in my view, that should definitely be reviewed to include the development sector practical experience with the auditors.
Okay.
That's my suggestion only.
Sure. Madam Jaswant Kaur.
So I just wanted to add that neither the term social auditor nor the term social impact assessor actually justifies, the development work, because impact is something which is created over a period of time. It takes, years to create impact. Basically, what I could understand is that since this will be a yearly report, it would be something like outcome measurement. It cannot be impact at all. So I somehow feel that, the term impact also does not justify, what you're doing, what will be achieved from this report.
Right.
This is what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Meenakshi, madam.
Yeah, so I just want to add, I mean, in supporting, what previous people have just mentioned, I think that social impact measurement is a broader term, and social audit can be a part of it. And then separately audits should be, which is a regular practice. So that is something that can be done. So defining very clearly what social impact measurement will include, and then a part of it becoming a social audit, that will be much better.
Right. Any other
Hello?
views on this point, please? Yes, please.
Yeah, yeah. Even I agree with the Meenakshi madam that social audit or audit of in the entire process is also important, and impact is little bit different. So impact will come afterwards. So audit is necessary from the investor's point of view. And if the SEBI wants the investors to come more and invest, then audit is definitely required. Maybe the word changing the word will not make much more difference. But as previously said by some other gentleman, that when the audit word comes, it gives us some definition that it is been scrutinized, it has been revalued, everything means all the documentation is proper, everything is been done by some person who has authorized authority and responsibility. So social audit may be a part of total social impact assessment. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other views, please? Then they are looking for relaxation of the requirement of disclosure at the time of registration on NSE BSE portal, requirement of disclosure of past social impact in the SEBI specified format in the fundraising document. SEBI has prescribed the contents of fundraising document through SEBI circular of September 2022. One of the matter which is required to be indicated, mentioned therein is details about social impact in terms of parameters which cover aspects prescribed under annual impact report, such as strategic intent, approach, impact scorecard. It is supposed to be now diluted because we understand that this is the new concept which has come up now. NGOs may still provide the record of past social impact, but not necessarily, at least to begin with, in the SEBI prescribed format. You can show it, you can reflect it, you can mention it in the format that you think it is going to be appropriate, maybe not in the SEBI specified format. Exchanges have recommended that the format and details of past social impact be provided based on past practice of NPs and not necessarily as per the template and format prescribed therefore in the fundraising document. This is with a view to relaxing the requirements of disclosure and information to be provided in the fundraising document. May I have the views of the audience on this, please? Yes, Madam Rita.
Sir, I think if SEBI is keen on use of, or including strategic intent and planning approach and impact scorecard, maybe for NGOs who are looking at listing, maybe this could, at a future date, these can be included. But yeah, as you have proposed, I think that's a very good idea. The cost of trying to kind of rejig everything, reformat everything, and put it into SEBI's scorecard at the time of listing becomes an onerous task. So
Absolutely.
whatever impact assessment has been done in the past, if that could be considered, that is fabulous, because most NGOs do pay a lot of attention to the impact that they're doing. So I not doing work to kind of measure impact, they measure impact in some way or the other, which can be included at the time of the differentiator, the document that they put out at the time of listing. But maybe in future, these things could be kept in mind when the annual impact report is put out.
Sure, noted, noted. Any other views, please? So generally accepted that.
Can I?
Yes, madam.
I mean, I think sometimes we are using certain terminology very in our flow, but then there is a issue of cost of. I mean, what is impact measurement?
Absolutely.
I mean, so impact measurement. I mean, is it based on data? I mean, how are we? What kind of data are we collecting? How much? What is the depth of data that we are collecting? So there are multiple parameters. So I think it might help us to keep it more simple, because different people will understand some of these terminologies in different ways.
Yes,
And
yes.
while, I mean, a lot of NGOs, they have very good impact on the ground. They are able to demonstrate. But if we ask, provide us the full-fledged data, there is often a dearth of money to collect all that data.
Yeah.
While
Very
on the
true.
other side, we are also keeping the cost of administration and project management limited, but the ask is broadening. So we need to find a balance here. Either we say that this is a program activity and this is not part of administration, and I mean, I'm sure with available tools which are also very reasonably priced tools available on the shelf in the market, NGOs can collect data, but it is time consuming and it will cost money.
Right.
So that balance has to be brought in, and not use words in a flow, because they really are some good to do things that we want to do. We need to understand what it actually means, what will be the practical implication on not-for-profit of using such certain words, and and defining these terminologies so that there is a common understanding of the donor and donee on those terminologies.
Sure. Point is well taken. Any other views, please, on this? So these were the 6 points that SEBI had put up for public consultation. Reiterating, the first question was, should SEBI consider reduction in minimum size issue NPOs issuing ZCZP from existing limit of 1 crore to 50 lakhs? Second was, should SEBI consider reduction in minimum application size from existing 2 lakhs to 10,000? Third aspect was, SEBI considering registration of NPOs even if they don't have ATG certificate and allow them to raise funds on the SSC. Next point was with regard to income tax notices and scrutiny. Next point was regarding substituting the term social auditor with social impact assessors. And next point was regarding allowing details of past social impact to be furnished by the NPOs in not SEBI format, but in whatever format they have been using in the past. And the last point they are also mentioning here is, should SEBI have power to relax provisions of social stock exchange and the issue of capital regulations based on recommendations of exchanges in the interest of developing social stock exchange? If yes, what areas, broad principles should be considered by SEBI for exemption? And second, whether this exemption should be for a limited period, say for a period of 12 months. Because the whole concept of social stock exchange is yet evolving, we are still in the consultative process. We are trying to get feedback, inputs from various stakeholders. That is where SEBI wants to have some kind of a flexibility of being able to change, modify, amend certain guidelines and regulations so as to make SSC a reality in real sense, with many NPOs participating in the registration process and also being able to raise funds through this particular platform. So it's a general point that they have put up in the recommendation list. Should SEBI be given flexibility, powers to make amendments to these guidelines from time to time? And secondly, should it be for a particular period of time, say at least for a period of 12 months to begin with? They are soliciting views of the public on this regard. So any comments, any views on this particular aspect, please?
Shivakumar, shall I say? Sir, it should be permanent. There is no meaning in reviewing again 12 months.
Okay, it
I
should
agree
be
with
permanently.
571.
This should be a permanent power
Permanent.
available with SEBI.
Permanent.
Yeah, to make changes,
Yes,
amendments
so
as and when required
asking
in the
them to
evolution of SSC. Yeah.
Right.
See,
Any-
another thing, Gupta ji,
Yes, sir.
SEBI by its very structure is primarily association, or you can say group, where there is very active engagement of you can say financial bodies and for-profit companies and all those. I
Right.
think to here at least we need to also discuss with SEBI that there is a structural engagement of non-profit sector in this part of the SEBI's functions. क्योंकि वो उसमें how many times they can have conversation, but if there is a structured engagement of civil society group, some civil society group, like for example, you have Institute of Chartered Accountants or cost accountants or company secretaries. They are part of that structure. We need to have a similarly, engagement of civil society in that structure so that हर बार इतना लंबा process ना करना पड़े. That is taken care of.
Right.
I agree with that, and I think maybe one suggestion would be that Vani could take that role, and they can nominate someone to participate on behalf of the sector, and there could be a couple of people doing that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes. Any other views on this, please? So I think that takes care of all the public consultation points put up in public domain by SEBI. And the document has been shared with you all along with the notice for this particular interactive meeting. Individually also, you can submit comments on the website provided for and the email provided by SEBI in that circular. But you can also write to us. You can write to Vani. You can write to ICMI RBO. We are going to have more rounds of such interactive sessions, consultations within next few days before we start collating, compiling all the suggestions, all the viewpoints, and then submit a consolidated note and consolidated paper to SEBI. So thank you so much for joining us.
Just Gupta ji, just another thing before we say bye-bye to everyone. See, this is a process which we have started, although we can say that majority of civil society is quite late in the party, but party is not over yet. So I think we request everyone to very actively participate in this process. We are going to have a face-to-face discussion in Jodhpur with CSOs of Rajasthan, in which there will be resource person from, SEBI group or Jyotsna ji to explain people at that level. So once this conversation starts, then I think we have right to say that how structure has been created in SEBI, how much we can influence that. So उसमें मेरे को लगता है कि we have to actively we solicit your advice and suggestion in the process.
Absolutely.
और ये भी जो point आए हैं, 5-6 point आए हैं, इसमें see, please read the document. If you need any further information, you can contact Shabin or Gupta ji. They will provide further information so that you can give input on regular basis.
Anytime,
Yeah.
sure.
Thank you.
Yes. I would also like to speak, especially which I had requested was this capacity building of the social, we are now calling auditors, but social impact assessors. There was a very good discussion with, on this point. So yes, I just would like to put my, a little bit of thought in terms of, whether it's an social impact assessor or social auditor. Everyone has got their, own view from their own perspective. But at the same time, the thought that has gone was, I think, beautifully put by Miss Rita Pani, that the social audit or social assessment is something, it goes very deep down. Yeah, most of the audit it emanated from the from the finance realm, basically. All right, but social realm is something, it's very complex. So given that, I would like to urge all the NPO members, and Harji, I would like to request you, if whatever this ecosystem is evolving for the social auditors, for the NPO fraternity to take part in evolving the right people to do social audit, it will be a game changer. But if we don't participate now, then we cannot blame anyone. Yeah. So to be very upfront in telling, basically. So इसमें ये भी है, तो थोड़ा सा मैं आपको ये बताना चाहूंगी कि अभी क्या है ना, जो सोशल ऑडिटर जिसने अभी सर्टिफिकेट का ट्रेनिंग सर्टिफिकेट किया है, उनको हम बोल रहे कि कम से कम 3 माह का समय देंगे, और आप लोग किसी एनजीओ के साथ में आप मतलब अटैच होके उसमें, मतलब ये कि एनपीओ के साथ कम से कम आप 2 हफ्ते का टाइम हाँ, उनका पूरा फील्ड में जाके देख के उनके साथ रह के बातचीत करके एक सोशल ऑडिट रिपोर्ट बनाई है। पर इसमें सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट ये भी है कि पूछना है कि कितने एनपीओ तैयार होंगे इसके लिए, क्योंकि जब तक एनपीओ तैयार होके ये सोशल ऑडिटर को एंटरटेन नहीं कर पाएंगे तो ये सोशल ऑडिटर फिर वो पेपर में टिक मारने का होगा जिसमें कोई अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं होगी। और इसमें ये भी मैं आप लोगों को बताना चाहूंगी कि अभी क्या है कि जो भी सोशल एनुअली जो सोशल ऑडिटर सोशल इम्पैक्ट असेसर चूज करेंगे वो कंसर्न एनपीओ और फंडर ही चूज करेंगे। हाँ, तो अब ये इतना तो हम बता सके कि कंसर्न एनपीओ चूज करेंगे, पर एनपीओ भी यही बोलेंगे ना कि जो सोशल ऑडिटर का फील्ड का एक्सपीरियंस हो, सोशल एक्सपीरियंस हो, वही यहाँ पर ऑडिट करने आए। पर वो उस टाइप का मैन पावर अभी जनरेट ही नहीं कर पाएंगे तो हम किस चीज की डिमांड करेंगे फिर, है ना। तो ये वाला पार्ट बहुत क्रूशियल है और आप सभी को मैं यही तहे दिल से आह्वान करती हूँ कि कृपया आगे आइए और किस तरह से ये जो सोशल ऑडिटर का सोशल इम्पैक्ट असेसर का कार्डर डेवलप हो रहा है इसमें सोशल सेक्टर के लोग सबसे पहला नंबर, दूसरा नंबर इनको कैसे फील्ड का ट्रेनिंग दिया जाएगा। इसमें छोटा सा पायलट हम करके देखें, क्योंकि देखिए सेबी के पास में हमें जाना भी हो तो हमारे पास प्रूफ ऑफ कॉन्सेप्ट होना चाहिए। हाँ, हमने कर दिखाया इतने लोगों का ट्रेनिंग, हमने इतने एनपीओ को लेके, उसमें आपका फंड का भी दिक्कत आ सकता है कि अभी हर एक लोग पूछ रहे होंगे ये फंड कहाँ से आएगा इनको फील्ड में ट्रेनिंग देने के लिए, है ना। क्योंकि जाना थोड़ा सा ट्रेनिंग अपना लेना, क्योंकि उनका तो अप्रेंटिसशिप ट्रेनिंग है, वो कुछ उनको खुद भी खर्चा करना पड़ेगा। कुछ हम कोशिश करेंगे जो हमारा कैपेसिटी बिल्ड फंड है उससे भी अगर हम कहीं मतलब कुछ कुछ एनपीओ तैयार तो हो। हाँ, कितने एनपीओ ऐसे तैयार होंगे कि आपके पुराने प्रोजेक्ट या जैसे कंफर्टेबल होंगे कोई आके यहाँ पर कोई ऑडिट का ट्रेनिंग ले ले, हाँ, असेस करने का ट्रेनिंग ले ले। ये भी थोड़ा एनपीओ को मतलब क्या है कि थोड़ा सा वेलकमिंग होना पड़ेगा क्योंकि ये ऑडिट का एक्सरसाइज होगा। तो इस चीज के लिए हर्जी आप थोड़ा सा इंटरनली भी अभी सभी के साथ में, सभी एनपीओ साथियों के साथ में आप चर्चा कर देंगे और एक कम से कम हम एक पायलट शुरू करें। हाँ, और उसके कॉस्टिंग इत्यादि भी कैसे होगा, कॉस्ट नीड्स टू बी शेयर बाय ऑल। yes, npo will be providing that space but npo will not be will not be able to give the cost. So from which end we'll be pulling, and at the same time what I am trying is that अभी जितने भी सर्टिफिकेशन का कोर्स 3 सेल्फ रेगुलेटेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस कर रहे हैं, हम उस कॉस्ट को घटाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं यूजिंग ई प्लेटफॉर्म। हाँ, तो उससे क्या है ना, उसका कॉस्ट जो कम हो जाएगा, वो कॉस्ट क्या हम रियल प्रैक्टिकल ट्रेनिंग देने में वो पैसा थोड़ा बहुत उसी पैसे से क्या कोई मतलब जो प्रोस्पेक्टिव कैंडिडेट फील्ड में खर्च कर पाएंगे तो वो ज्यादा उनकी लर्निंग सार्थक होगा। क्योंकि ये पढ़ने वाला ट्रेनिंग का पढ़ने वाला और प्रोक्टरिंग करके एग्जाम देने वाला ये जो ट्रेनिंग है उसको तो क्या है कि पढ़ के भी लोग मतलब एग्जाम दे सकते हैं। हाँ, पर फील्ड का ट्रेनिंग
यार ये तो मतलब मजाक बना कर रख दिया उन्होंने यार, क्या होगा ऐसे।
हेलो हेलो, इसको थोड़ा सा
गुप्ता जी म्यूट कर लीजिए, मिस्टर आर के गुप्ता।
थैंक यू।
जसवंत जी कुछ बोलना चाह रहे हैं?
Sir, I wanted to ask a question.
Yes,
हाँ जी।
please.
हम लोग जो इशू साइज जो है वो 50 लाख अब रिड्यूस कर रहे हैं 1 करोड़ से, राइट? So should the social impact or assessment or this social audit be mandatory to be done every year? Why should it be? Like 50 लाख तो बहुत बड़ा अमाउंट नहीं है मेरे हिसाब से, क्योंकि even if you look at CSR guidelines, 50 लाख is not a very big amount. 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 50 if somebody funds ₹1 crore ऐसा कुछ करके लिमिट है, then only social audit is conducted. तो क्या वो जरूरी है क्या 50 लाख की अगर लिमिट में किसी ने फंड रेज किया कि हर साल आपको सोशल ऑडिट रिपोर्ट सबमिट करना ही है? This is what I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
एक नंबर रेडमी 10A, उन्होंने हाथ उठाया हुआ है, नाम नहीं लिखा, रेडमी लिखा हुआ है।
आप रजिस्टर्ड हो गए तो आपको जरूरी है
Yes,
रिपोर्ट
sir.
सबमिट करना, इवन इफ यू आर नॉट रेजिंग द फंड्स, once you are registered then you have to submit the report
अच्छा,
for the current regulations.
बताया उन्होंने,
Hello.
पूछ रहे हैं।
हाँ जी।
हेलो,
Sorry, could you hear what I had spoken? I don't know.
No, you were on mute that time.
Acha. So now, yeah, what I felt was कि इतना आप मैं इतना ही है मेरा कि ये सोशल ऑडिटर को कैसे हम बहुत अच्छे ढंग से डेवलप कर सकते हैं, इसमें हम मेरा विशेष ध्यान है। और यही था कि आप सभी सहयोग करें तब बहुत अच्छा एक रोबस्ट इकोसिस्टम डेवलप होगा, क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि ये सोशल ऑडिट या सोशल इम्पैक्ट असेसर का इंस्टीट्यूशन ऐसे है, ये ऐसे कड़ी है जिसमें फंडर्स का, हमारे एनजीओ पार्टनर्स का और जो भी बेनिफिशियरीज हैं और बाकी भी स्टेक होल्डर्स का फेथ हिंट्स करता है। हाँ, तो ये एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट कड़ी है। मेरे को अभी इतना ही बताना है। थैंक यू। और ये जो बीच में क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे थे कि 50 लाख का ऑडिट क्या हम ईयरली रिपोर्ट करें करके, इसमें मैं अभी पूरा नहीं बता सकती हूँ, पर ये मैं जरूर बताऊंगी कि इसको हमने कि इन्वेस्टमेंट का या फंडिंग का ब्रैकेट देखते हुए उसी हिसाब से रिपोर्टिंग के फॉर्मेलिटीज को डिजाइन करके, हाँ, हायर ब्रैकेट के लोगों का ज्यादा रिपोर्टिंग का रिक्वायरमेंट होना चाहिए। यदि इन्वेस्टमेंट ब्रैकेट क्या है ना कम है और उससे भी कम है, तो फिर रिपोर्टिंग रिक्वायरमेंट को भी उसी हिसाब से ईज आउट कर देना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो इसमें हमने सभी से सभी अभी जो भी जितने भी अभी प्रक्रियाएं चल रही है उन सबको देखते हुए हमने कोशिश किया है कि किस तरह से इसको थोड़ा सा इसकी सेगमेंट करते हुए इसकी रिपोर्टिंग रिक्वायरमेंट्स को ईज करें।
Right.
if you could commit to please raise a question.
Yes, please.
Gupta ji.
Yes,
Thank
please.
you so much for the opportunity.
Please.
The thing is, as Jyotsna ma'am said that we'd be having, the NPO should be welcoming in, seeking cooperation from the social auditors who have just recently passed the NISIM, thing. So is there any opportunity where we could, platform where we could get the details of these social auditors and we could match up, like, yes, there is a specific region. We are from Bombay, I am from MESCO, an organization working from past 55 years. So we'd like to welcome such people who are ready to help us with the procedure or the guidelines, whatever the things are required for the registration.
Sure, ma'am. Yeah.
So
we'll
any
connect
sort
with
of
you
help.
and probably organize a specific session for your members or your organization. We'll connect with you, ma'am. Certainly.
Appreciate, sir. Thank you so much for your help.
Thank you. Any other views, please?
Congratulations for all
yes,
your
please.
efforts, Dr. Gupta, Vani, and Madam. It's very inspiring. It is essential we send the feedback and attain the results. Thank you for all of you for your
Thank you so
sir.
much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay. Any other observation? Namaste Karde. Okay.
I think we are done with the program.
Yes,
thank you so much for
thank
your
you.
time and participation, active participation.
Thank
We
you.
have carefully noted down all your views and points. We're going to have, as I said, a few more interactive sessions of this nature with other NPOs, other stakeholders, and then we will consolidate and send a document to SEBI with our views on the proposed recommendations as floated by SEBI. Thank you so much all over. once again for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arji. Thank you, Gupta ji.
Thank you, sir.